माधवा जय कुंज विहारी
जय राधा माधवा जय कुंज विहारी
गोपी जन वल्लभा जय गिरिवराधारी यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजन
यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजन
यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजन यमुना तीरवनचारी जय कुंज विहारी
यमुना तीरवनचारी जय कुंज विहारी
जय राधा माधवा जय कुंज विहारी गोपी जना वल्लभा जय गिरिवराधारी
गोपी जना वल्लभा जय गिरिवराधारी
यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजन यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजन
यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजन
यमुना तीरवनचारी जय कुंज विहारी
यमुना तीरवनचारी
हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे
हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे
हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे
हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे
हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे
हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायण नमस्कृत्य naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tadosayam udirayet nashtaprayeshu abhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtiki namavom vishnu padaya krishna prishtaya bhutale श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामिनि इति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशधारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. Hare Krishna, welcome to everyone. Today we are going to discuss a 13th chapter summary of the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, titled Dhrtarashtra Quits Home. In this chapter, we are going to discuss about how Vidura enlightened his brother Dhrtarashtra and made him to understand the goal of human life. After hearing, Dhrtarashtra left home, went to forest and achieved liberation. The beginning of this chapter, Suta Goswami says to the sages of Naimisharanya, when Vidura was on the pilgrimage, he was traveling on a pilgrimage, he met Maitreya Rishi and received the transcendental knowledge from him. After receiving the transcendental knowledge from Maitreya Rishi, he immediately returned to Hastinapura. Why? Because he wanted to deliver his brother Dhrtarashtra. Who is Vidura? Vichitravirya, son of Satyavati and father Shantanu, got married to Ambika and Ambalika. They were living happily, but Vichitravirya died due to some disease untimely. As a result, there was no progeny to rule the kingdom. When the Kuru dynasty faced extinction upon the death of Vichitravirya, Mother Satyavati called Bhishma and requested Bhishma, my dear son, please get married and beget children so that this dynasty can continue. Bhishma Deva refused. Said, my dear mother, I cannot because I have taken a vow that I will remain celibate throughout my life. Rather, he gave an idea how to beget children through the womb of Ambika and Ambalika. So he instructed mother Satyavati, we can invite a qualified Brahmana to impregnate the womb of Ambika and Ambalika. Then Satyavati thought of her own brother, her own son, who was born prior to her marriage with Shantanu, that is Vyasadeva. She summoned Vyasadeva. Vyasadeva came and instructed Vyasadeva to beget children through the womb of Ambika and Ambalika. First Vyasadeva impregnated Ambika. Ambika was thinking when Ambika was informed by Satyavati that my son will come tonight to impregnate you. Please be ready. Ambika thought, I am going to have union with a powerful Kshatriya. She was eagerly waiting for Vyasadeva because she had not seen Vyasadeva. When Vyasadeva arrived, she was shocked to see. He was a very old person. She never expected such an old man will come and impregnate. The moment she saw Vyasadeva, she closed her eyes. Thus she committed an offense. Then Vyasdeva impregnated Ambika, and later he impregnated Ambalika. Then at the request of Mother Satyavati, Vyasdeva impregnated the maid servant of Ambika, who was the mother of Dhrtarashtra. So Ambika gave birth to Dhrtarashtra, Ambalika gave birth to Pandu, and the maid servant of Ambika, a Shudra, gave birth to Vidura. Who is Vidura? He was incarnation of Yamaraja. Being cursed by sage Mandukya Muni, he took birth as the son of Shudrani. Why was he cursed? Why was Yamaraja cursed to become Shudra? Once a sage Mandukya Muni was performing tapasya in his ashrama. At the time there was some thieves, they were running here and there because they were chased by police constable, and they want to somehow hide themselves. So while they were coming and they saw there was one hermitage, these thieves went and started hiding themselves in the hermitage of Mandukya Muni. Mandukya Muni was not aware of this. When the police constable came and asked Mandukya Muni, he said, I don't know anybody, I don't know anything. Then the police constable went to the hermitage of Mandukya Muni and discovered. They saw the two thieves and they were taken to the magistrate along with the Mandukya Muni. Because Mandukya Muni says he does not know, but the police thought it is he who gave shelter to the thieves. Therefore, magistrate gave punishment to the Muni that he should be punished by the lance, piercing the lance and kill him. So he was taken to the place where he will be pierced through lance. And this news reached the king. King immediately came to the spot and told stop. And king begged forgiveness from Mandukya Muni. Please forgive me, somehow it happened. Then the Mandukya Muni thought, okay, it is the fault of Yamaraja. It is he who gives punishment and reward to the living entity. Let me go and check why he awarded me this punishment. So he went to the abode of Yamaraja and asked the reason why I was made to suffer like this. At the time, Yamaraja said, during your childhood, you took a straw and started piercing the ant and gave pain to the ant. As a result, you are supposed to suffer now in this lifetime. So Mandukya Muni said, it's not correct because I did out of ignorance, because out of innocence, because I was a mere child. I did not know the laws of dharma. Therefore, this punishment is heavy. He became very angry because Yamaraja awarded him heavy punishment for insignificant his fault. Therefore, Mandukya Muni cursed Yamaraja to become son of Shudra in the next life. Thus, when Vyasdeva impregnated the maidservant of Ambika, Vidura was born. Although he was a son of a maidservant, nevertheless he was taken care by Bhishma nicely along with his brothers Dhrtarashtra and Pandu. Later he got married to Shudrani, and Mahatma Vidura was always well-wisher of Dhrtarashtra. He was very much attached to his brother Dhrtarashtra. Many times he gave him the good instruction to Dhrtarashtra. When he, before the war, even after the 12 years of exile and 1 year of incognito, Yudhishthira Maharaja requested Dhrtarashtra to give that Indraprastha kingdom. He sent Krishna If they don't give, at least give the 5 villages for 5 brothers so that we can rule, because we are Kshatriyas. So at that time, Mahatma Vidura implored Dhritarashtra, my dear brother, as per the game, as per the wages at the time of game, you must return the rightful kingdom Indraprastha to Pandavas. So at the time, Duryodhana heard this. He became very furious. He insulted Vidura by saying he's a son of Shudrani, who asked him to come here to give his advice. We don't require the advice of Shudra. He told his people, throw him out of the palace. Thus Vidura was insulted, humiliated by Duryodhana. Then later he resigned from the post and went on a pilgrimage. So while on his pilgrimage, he met Maitreya and received the transcendental knowledge, and immediately returned to Hastinapura to deliver his brother Dhritarashtra. When he reached Hastinapura, Yudhishthira Maharaja and all his brothers, Bhima, Arjuna, Nakula, Sahadeva, and even Dhritarashtra, Satyaki, and Sanjaya, Gandhari, Kunti, Shubhadra, and Uttara, all the people approached to see Vidura. They are very much delighted to see Vidura because they are seeing him after a long period of time, many years over, and they were so happy. Then he was given the nice feast. Vidura took sufficient rest. Then he was sitting. At the time, Yudhishthira Maharaj came along with others and sat near to Vidura and started saying to Vidura, my dear uncle, it is you who protected us from all sort of calamities. Do you remember how you protected us from all sort of calamities, particularly arson and poisoning? When Maharaja Pandu was once wanted to take, he was married to Kunti and Madhuri, and he was busy with politics, and he could not spend time with his wives, and he want to give some time for the family members. Therefore he want to take some break from the politics, and he went to a farmhouse little far away from Hastinapura so that he can spend some time with his family members. So he was with the family members, 2 wives. One day he was hunting in the forest. At that time there was a sage who assumed the form of a deer, having union with his wife. And Maharaja Pandu did not know that is a sage. He thought it's a deer, and he shot an arrow. That arrow went and pierced the deer. Then immediately the deer assumed the form of the sage. And when Maharaja Pandu went to see, he was surprised. It was the sage. So the sage became very angry and cursed Pandu. You killed me at inappropriate time when I was engaged having union with my wife. You killed me. You shot an arrow. I curse you. When you have union with your wife, you will also die. After giving the curse, he gave up his body along with his wife. Maharaja Pandu returned to Hastinapura with heavy heart, and he explained to Bhishma, Dhritarashtra and Vidura, and he want to retire from the family, want to take Vanaprastha ashrama. So he left family. He wanted to go to forest to lead in austere life, because if he's a kingdom, naturally be inclined to enjoy sense gratification. So he went to forest. His chaste wives, both Kunti and Madhuri, also followed him. He was thinking, now I don't have any children. He was feeling sad. At the time Kunti said, somehow she received a mantra from sun god. By thinking of any god, by chanting the mantra, she can beget children. So then she begot Yudhishthira by thinking of Yamaraj. Then she begot Bhima by thinking of Vayu. Then Arjuna by thinking of Indra. Then she gave the mantra to her co-wife, means Madri. So Madri begot Nakula and Saradeva. So Pandu and Kunti, Madri, along with 5 children, they were living happily in the forest. One day Madri went to take bath and to bring water for cooking. While she was coming, at the time Pandu was sitting and she saw her body, cloth was wet. Somehow the desire started provoking him. He forcefully went to enjoy. As a result, he passed away. Madri thought, it is because of me my husband passed away. My husband died. I am the cause of my husband's death. So she instructed her sister Kunti, please take care of my children. I will also enter the fire along with my husband. She set a fire to the body of Pandu and she also entered. Then this news reached Bhishma Deva in Hastinapura. Then immediately summoned people to bring Kunti along with 5 children. So Kunti was a widow and she has got 5 small children. She came to Hastinapura and she became the special favor of Bhishma and Vidura because she was a widow and the poor children, 5 children, they didn't have father. Therefore Vidura was always constantly caring for Pandavas, and he had got special care for the Pandavas because of they don't have father. And Dhrtarashtra was giving protection to both his children and Pandavas, but at heart he wanted to make his son as the king of Hastinapura. Actually, Yudhishthira was the eldest because Pandu was the king and his eldest son is Yudhishthira. He is supposed to rule the kingdom. But Dhrtarashtra did not want Yudhishthira to rule the kingdom. Rather, he wanted his son Duryodhana should become the king. And he was constantly thinking how to eliminate the Pandavas. So Duryodhana also was constantly thinking to somehow finish the Pandavas. Therefore, with the help of a builder called Purochana, Duryodhana built a house, palace, which is made of flammable material, made of wax, camphor, other things, so that he can send the Pandavas to the palace and burn them to ashes, so that he can rule the kingdom without any rivalry. That was his plan. He proposed his plan to Dhrtarashtra. Dhrtarashtra gave approval. So the palace was built and Dhrtarashtra called Pandavas and told, my dear Pandavas, so better go and live in the palace in Varnavata, this nice palace. So Pandavas were going to the palace. At the time, Vidura came and told Yudhishthira Maharaj, a weapon which is not made of steel or any other metal can be more sharp to kill an enemy. One who knows this is never killed. And further he hinted there will be a fire. A fire cannot burn the soul, but can destroy the material body. So when Kunti heard this, she could not understand anything. There was a conversation between Yudhishthira Maharaj and Vidura, and Kunti could not understand anything. And Kunti Maharani asked after some time, Yudhishthira Maharaj, what was he speaking? I could not understand anything. Then Yudhishthira Maharaj said to Kunti Maharani, Uncle Vidura is saying there will be some fire in the palace and is cautioning us. So after reaching the palace, they were there, they saw everything all made of flammable material. And one day Vidura came in disguise and told, see, on the Amavasya day, the housekeeper is going to set fire to the house. please escape. So then all the Pandavas made a tunnel from the house, and before the planned day, all of them escaped, and they themselves set a fire and escaped. So that this news reached to Dhrtarashtra that the palace where the Pandavas were living, means by fire accidents, somehow all the Pandavas burned to death. So all the people were very upset. The Pandavas along with Kunti burned to ashes due to fire accident. So Dhrtarashtra was performing the ritual, but Vidura was not worried. He knew very well Pandavas living happily somewhere. So in this way, Vidura constantly protected the Pandavas. And Yudhishthira Maharaj remembered all the favor done by Vidura. So a devotee, when he receives a favor, he should remember always. Whenever we do favor to others, we should forget. But when someone does favor, we should remember. Therefore, Vidura is saying to, Yudhishthira Maharaj is saying to Vidura, how you are constantly protecting us. Do you remember? This is a quality of devotee. To remember, acknowledge the favor done by others. Now after that, Vidura was asking, Yudhishthira Maharaj was asking Vidura, my dear uncle, I think how did you maintain your life while on the pilgrimage? Which are the holy places you visited? What are the service you rendered? Bhavat Ida Bhagavada Tirtha Bhuta Swayam Vibho Tirti Kruvanti Tirthani Swantastena Gadabrata. My dear uncle, my dear Lord, you are like a places of pilgrimage. You are the holy places, personified, holy places personified. Because devotees like yourself carry Krishna within your heart. Therefore, you can turn any places into the place of pilgrimage. Generally, we all go to the places of pilgrimage to get some benefit, spiritual benefit. But the pure devotees, why? Because God is there. God performed some pastimes. But whereas pure devotees, wherever they stay, that is a holy place. Why? Because they can turn the places into the places of pilgrimage because of carrying Krishna within their heart. Personalities like Vidura can turn any place into the place of pilgrimage because of carrying a Lord within himself. Therefore, the devotees like Vidura or Prabhupada or Bhaktisasa Thakur, they don't require to go to the places of pilgrimage because they themselves are the place of pilgrimage. They can convert any places into the place of pilgrimage just by being there present. So then he asked, my dear Lord, you must have visited while on the pilgrimage, you must have visited Dwaraka. How is our friends and relatives at Dwaraka? How is Krishna? How is Balaram? How are the family members of Yadu? So Vidura was questioned by Yudhishthira Maharaja to explain about Krishna and Yadu dynasty members. Being questioned by Yudhishthira Maharaj, Vidura answered everything except the annihilation of Yadu dynasty. Because Vidura could not stand to see the Pandavas distressed at any point of time. Therefore, purposefully he did not disclose the fact of the annihilation of Yadu dynasty. It is said in the Shastras that one should not speak unpalatable truths to cause distress to others. We should not tell any truth which causes distress to others. It should come that kind of news, negative news, which gives distress to others should come on its own, not by our propaganda. Do you know he died? Do you know what happened this? That kind of things we should not spread. That will give distress to the living beings. Therefore, Vidura was well aware of all the knowledge, well aware of everything. Therefore, he did not disclose the fact of the annihilation of Yadu dynasty. So Vidura was there and he was meeting all the people, and all the people were very happy. They were elated to hear from Vidura. And Vidura was taken care by Yudhishthira Maharaj nicely. He was given nice accommodation, nice food. But Vidura did not come to Hastinapura to enjoy the bodily comfort of nice accommodation, nice food. But he came for one purpose. The purpose is to deliver his brother Dhrtarashtra. So he was in the Hastinapura to deliver his brother Dhrtarashtra. When Maharaja Yudhishthira, after the battlefield of Kurukshetra, he was feeling very much aggrieved because there was many people killed during the battle, and there was no one in the dynasty who could continue because all his sons were killed. At last, Parikshit Maharaj, who was within the womb of Uttara, even he was about to be destroyed by Ashwatthama by releasing his weapon, Brahmastra. Somehow Krishna protected Parikshit Maharaj. Then Parikshit Maharaj took birth and Yudhishthira Maharaj performed birth ceremony. And he was happy to see his grandson, who is competent enough to continue his noble dynasty, to give protection to the citizens. He was very happy to see his grandson, at least he is there. He is going to rule the country after we leave the world. So he was happy, and he was happily ruling his kingdom, Hastinapura, and enjoying the royal opulence along with his brothers. So in this way they were passing time. And Vidura was in Hastinapura, and he was seeing how his brother Dhrtarashtra was very much attached to the materialistic way of life. And he was thinking how to deliver this person. So at that time he thought, a time, insurmountable, eternal time, imperceptibly overcomes those who are very much attached to this bodily concept of life, and those who are always engrossed in the thought of maintaining the family affairs. Eternal time, it will take away the jiva, the life of the jiva, but that they don't know. Those who are attached to the body, they don't know about this, that we are going to die and what we are supposed to do. They don't know. They are completely absorbed in the materialistic life. Therefore Vidura knew very well how his brother Dhrtarashtra is attached to the materialistic life. So actually human form of life is meant for achieving perfection. Every moment should be careful, should not waste. Therefore Chanakya Pandita says, Ayusha Shana Yokopi Na Labye Swarna Kotibi Nache Niratikam Neti Kacha Anis Tatodika. Even the moment of time cannot be regained by spending millions of gold coin. Swarna Kotibi. Even thousands and kotis, millions of gold coin, if we pay, we cannot get even 1 second that is lost. Therefore, one should seriously consider what a great loss one suffers when he wastes his time uselessly for nothing. The living beings, generally those who are attached to the materialistic life, they don't think about the time. They simply live like animals. They don't care for the time. But the human being means, the sensible human being means, must understand the value of human life. Therefore, one should not waste even 1 minute. Time is compared to a sharp razor. When the razor is meant for shaving our head. But if it is done without proper attention, it creates disaster. It will create havoc. Similarly, one is advised not to create a disaster or havoc by wasting his time unnecessarily. Labdva sudalabam idam bahu sambhavanti manushyum artadam anitya apiya dhira. Turnam yateta napateta anumritya yavam nishye yasaya vishaya kalu sarvadasyat. Labdva sudalabam. This human form of life you have got after many lifetimes. It's very rare. Although it is anitya, it's a temporary, nevertheless it has got meaning, artada. The human form of this material body is anitya, it's a temporary, nevertheless it has got meaning, artha. Why? Only in this human form of life one can achieve perfection by practicing Krishna consciousness and go back home, back to Godhead. Therefore, sober person, a sober, a dhira, as long as the body is hale and healthy, he practices Krishna consciousness and achieve perfection. Because the sense gratification is available in all forms of life, whereas Krishna consciousness is available only in the human form of life. Therefore, dhira, a sober man, will not waste this human form of life by carelessly, uselessly spending his time in the pursuit of sense gratification. Very careful. And those who are attached to the bodily concept of life, they think, now I have got 4 BHK house, I have got so much property, I am well settled, I have given education to my children, I got my children married, I have given one house, now I am peaceful, I have got everything, I have got 1 crore or 2 crores in bank, I am getting interest of 1 lakh, I am peaceful. They do not know about the influence of eternal time, how it takes away the life of those who are materially attached. They ignorantly waste their time. Therefore, Vidura is urging Dhrtarashtra, my dear king, please get out of this place immediately. Don't stay here. The Supreme Lord has approached the farm of time to finish everyone. No one can check death. There is no superior power in this world to check that death. Although no one wants to die, nevertheless no one can escape from the death. He was urging, please get out of this place immediately. You see, all your brothers, your father has passed away, your grandfather passed away, even Bhishma, Drona, and all the well-wishers passed away in the battle. You lost all your sons, all the family members, you lost your wealth, but still you want to maintain your life comfortably and living at the home of the people whom you wanted to kill. It's a shame. It's a shame. So Dhrtarashtra was reminded by Vidura how he is passing his time uselessly. He has seen all the people died. All his grandfather, father, even his own brother, sons. Nevertheless, he is not thinking about his own death, but staying at home, comfortably eating the food given by the people whom he wanted to kill. What kind of life this is? It is said in the Bhagavatam, Dehapatya kalatrayeshu atmasayeshu asatsabi tesham pramattanidam pashyanapi pashyati. Those who are devoid of Atma Tattva, those who are devoid of those who do not know about the science of self, and they think they will be protected by whom? Family members, wife, children, community, society. Although they see all the people died, but still they do not see their own destruction. This material world is called place of death. Even from Lord Brahma, who lives for 311 trillion and 40 billion years, even he has to die. To even insignificant ant may live, or any jiva may live for a few hours, it has to die. So the material world is meant for death. No one can escape. But we are making plan after plan to enjoy the life. This is called foolishness. So Vidura was urging Dhrtarashtra, don't stay here. You see, my dear Dhrtarashtra, you become very old. You've been blind from birth. And moreover, recently you were hard of hearing. You was not able to hear, and your teeth became very loose, and your memory is shortened, and your intelligence is disturbed, and you started developing cough. These are the symptoms of a person who is going to die, who has reached the stage that is going to meet in death. But you are living like this. It's a shame. And he started saying, my dear brother Dhrtarashtra, please leave immediately, go to the place of it's northern part of Himalaya and leave the body there. He's a first class man who awakens and understands the falsity and miseries of the material worlds and leaves home, go to forest, completely depend upon the Supreme Lord who is sitting in the heart of everyone's jiva as a super soul. He's a first class person who leaves home and depends completely upon the Supreme Lord. So a person should not think, even he may be living in the jungle or forest filled with full of wild animals, he should not think that is alone. A devotee knows always that Krishna is present with me. He always protects me. He must have this complete conviction. One can attain liberation when one fully depends upon the Supreme Personality of Godhead in all situations. Then Vidura said, the person who is a Dhira, Dhira is the one who leaves home, go to the remote place and gives up this body when it becomes useless. Is a Dhira, is understood person. That kind of death is called a glorious death. Anyone who leaves home, go to a remote place and gives up the body without anyone's family members' knowledge. That kind of death is called a glorious death. That kind of person is called a Dhira, undisturbed person. So Vidura wanted his brother to become a Dhira, to leave the place immediately, go to forest. So in the modern world, I've seen there's one politician in South India. He was very old, 90 years old person, who could not get up from the chair. He cannot speak. He cannot see. He cannot even lift the glass of water. Nevertheless, he did not want to give up his post. He wants to remain the post. Why? Because he knew he is going to die. Nevertheless, doesn't want to retire from the active politics. Why? Because if they die during the power, when they are in the post, they will get sizable amount of land in the prominent location to bury their body, and government allocate the fund to build memorial. Government sometimes may declare holiday. Many people will come with a garland and cry. And people want that when I die, many people should cry. And people should declare holiday, and they should build a memorial for my Samadhi tomb. So see that kind of a death that's called inglorious death. The glorious death is one should leave home and go to forest, die in a remote place without anyone's knowledge. That kind of death is called a glorious death. Vidura wanted his brother to attain such a glorious death. After receiving this instruction from Vidura, Dhrtarashtra left the forest, left the house of Yudhishthira and started proceeding. When his wife saw Gandhari, chaste wife, she also followed her husband. Although Dhrtarashtra was entangled in the materialistic life, particularly economy and material attachment with family members and politics, and he was making plan after plan in order to achieve success in his life, but all the plan was baffled, complete failure. He was frustrated. In spite of all the failures, nevertheless Dhrtarashtra achieved ultimate success in self-realization. How? It's due to the association of Vidura, a pure devotee. By his instruction, he smashed all the false ideas or things of Dhrtarashtra and enlightened him and made him to leave home. Therefore, it is advised in the Shastra, one should always associate with pure devotees. Simply by associating with pure devotees, one can achieve perfection, just like Dhrtarashtra. Although he was extremely attached to the power, post, nevertheless, he gave up all the materialistic life just by associating with Vidura. Therefore, it is said in the Shastra, Sadhu Sangha, Sarva Shastra Kaya, Lava Matra Sadhu Sangha, Sarva Shastra Haya, Sarva Siddhi Haya. It is the verdict of the Vedic literature. Even by one moment, if one associates with pure devotees, one can achieve perfection just by Lava Matra Sadhu Sangha. One moment, if one takes the association of pure devotees, one can achieve perfection. It is also said in the Bhagavatam, Tulayama lavenapi na svargam na punarbhavam Bhagavat Sangi Sangasya Martyanam Kim Utashisha. One moment of pure devotees associations greater than attaining liberation or going to the heavenly planet. The person who is subject to die. Association with pure devotees is the greatest benediction. Therefore, no intelligent person will refuse to accept that kind of association. So Gandhari, because Vidura instructed Dhrtarashtra got this knowledge, and because he received the knowledge, transcendental knowledge, he developed detachment from the family life. Before this, he gave one nice instructive story, allegorical story, Vidura, and Vidura said to his brother Dhrtarashtra how to develop detachment from the bodily concept of life. He said one allegorical story. There was a Brahmana. He was in a dense forest and he was not aware. Somehow he went to the forest and he found himself in the middle of the dense forest, which is filled full of wild animals. And when he realized this, his heart started palpitating. He was filled with fear and anxiety. And somehow he wanted to escape from the forest, from the wild animals. While he was running, he saw the entire forest boundary was put a net. Entire covered with a net. And he cannot escape. And he also saw there were powerful snakes around the boundary that blocked his exit. And he was filled with anxiety and fear. And he was running here and there. And at that time there was an old woman wearing white cloth, outstretching her arms like this. Don't run away. Wait. She started chasing him. And she was too much disturbed. She was like a ghost. And he wanted to save himself, started running in the forest. Finally, while he was running, and he slipped into a deep pit. That pit was covered with creepers, and he did not see the pit. Because it's covered with creepers, somehow he slipped into the pit and he fell down. While he was falling down, his leg was entangled in the vines. A lot of creepers were there. His legs were entangled. And his head was downward and leg was facing top because his leg was entangled with the vines. And he was hanging just like a jackfruit, big jackfruit. and he saw at the bottom of this pit there was a powerful snake, was angrily waiting. Once he fall down, bite him. And again was filled with full of fear and anxiety, and he looked at the top and he saw there was a powerful elephant standing over the pit. The moment he comes out, he'll be crushed, he'll be made chutney. And he saw again there were some rats were eating the creepers that was holding his leg. If the rats eat the creepers, then he will fall down. So he saw the rats were eating, and he saw there was a bees, and there was honeycomb. So from the honeycomb there was a drops of honey falling from the top, and he was head was like this and leg was top, and he was opening his mouth and like this so that he can drink the honey. So the most remarkable fact that in spite of all the sufferings due to the wild animals and the powerful snakes and the old woman and the snake at the bottom of the pit and the powerful elephant standing on the top and the rats were eating the creepers, at any moment he can fall into the pit and he will be killed by the snake. In spite of all these things, the Brahmana maintained the hope of living comfortably by drinking the drops of honey. So what is the allegory? So Vidura said to Dhrtarashtra, this allegory, the story given by the sadhus who advocate the path of liberation. What is that forest? The forest nothing but the material world, and the wild animals nothing but the diseases. The old woman, white color dress, outstretching her arm, it's a jara, old age, chasing old age. We are constantly chased by this age, and this pit is a material body, the material body of the conditioned soul. And the snake at the bottom represents time, and the elephant standing at the top, its ear, and the rats, black and white rats, constantly eating. That's nothing but the day and time that eats away our life. The bees are our desires, and the drops of honey nothing but the sense gratification, the pleasure we derive from the sense gratification. The materialist, in spite of undergoing all the struggle, still he maintains the hope of living happily by drinking the small amount of enjoyment. So Vidura was explaining the story to Dhrtarashtra to make him to get detached from this materialistic life. After hearing this, Vidura started leaving. So Gandhari also started leaving because she is like a chaste wife. Therefore, for her, husband is important. This is our culture. Wife always stands by her husband under all situations, just like a mother, Sita Devi. Although she was a daughter of a king, Maharaj Janaka, nevertheless when Lord Ramachandra went to forest, she followed because she wants to be with her husband, whether he is in happiness or distress. That's called chastity. So they followed. Maharaj Yudhishthira, both of them left to the forest without telling anybody. Dhrtarashtra, Vidura and Gandhari, all of them went. And Maharaj Yudhishthira, as usual, morning he got up from the bed he got up early in the morning and took his bath and offered prayers to Lord and performed fire sacrifice to please sun god. Then went and met Brahmanas, offered respect to Brahmanas, gave charity to Brahmanas. After that, as usual, he went to the room of Dhrtarashtra to take the blessings. Generally, it's our Vedic culture. All young people would meet elders at home by touching the feet and take the blessings. So Yudhishthira Maharaja, although he was a king, nevertheless he set an example of being an ideal king, ideal householder, how a person, householder should rise early in the morning and perform the rituals and take the blessings of the elders. So nowadays, the so-called people or educated people, they don't get up early in the morning. They sleep till 8 o'clock. They don't get up, take bath and do puja or do sacrifice or perform, give charity to Brahmas, nothing. They sleep till 8 o'clock, 8:30. Then as soon as they get up, wife will bring bed coffee, drink bed coffee, take Hindu paper and read for an hour together. And what son does, he exactly imitates his father. Father gets up at 8 o'clock, son will get up at 8:30 or 9 o'clock. In this way, our culture is getting degraded and both father and son are going to the path towards hell. This is our culture. But people should follow the standard set by great personalities like Yudhishthira Maharaj. So when Maharaja Yudhishthira went and saw, they were not there. He was surprised where they are. So because he was thinking because Dhrtarashtra is unhappy with me, Mother Gandhari is unhappy with me because of they lost their children in the battle. So he saw Sanjaya, who was secretary of Dhrtarashtra. He met Sanjaya and asked him, my dear Sanjaya, where are our uncles, Dhrtarashtra and Vidura? It is they. When we lost our father at our young age, it is they, Dhrtarashtra and Vidura, protected us, maintained us. Where they have gone now? I think my uncle Dhrtarashtra was very much aggrieved due to losing all his sons. Similarly, my aunt Gandhari also felt very much aggrieved. Where have they gone, leaving us? So Sanjay also was feeling very much distressed. He could not see his master Dhrtarashtra and tears started flowing from his eyes. Somehow he could pacify himself and wiped out his tears and told Yudhishthira Maharaj, my dear king, actually I have been cheated by the two souls. I do not know where they have gone. They did not inform me. I have been cheated. Now I am without any shelter, without my master. He was crying. So at the time Narada Muni came and Yudhishthira Maharaj received Narada Muni and worshipped him. So at the time Yudhishthira Maharaj was crying and said, my dear sage Narada, I don't know where my uncles have gone, blind uncle and my uncle well-wisher Vidura, even my aunt Gandhari, who is protecting how they will live, where they will live. So he was lamenting without knowing where they are there, how they are maintained. So at the time he said, Narada Muni, my dear king, don't worry about anyone. It is a Lord who maintains all the living entities and who protects all the living entities. And you are thinking without your protection they may die. And you are thinking you are maintaining them. No. It is the Lord, one who maintains all the, is called Bhuta Breath. Supreme Lord is called Bhuta Breath. He is the one who maintains everything. He is the one who protects all the jivas. You don't worry about anyone. Your uncle Dhrtarashtra and Gandhari have gone to northern part of Himalayas and he is performing now Ashtanga Yoga in the forest, all where the many sages are living. Your uncle Dhrtarashtra is living there and is performing Ashtanga Yoga to control his mind and senses. And fifth day from today, he'll quit his body by by self-immolation. Means he can develop fire within the body. In this way, he can give up the body and attain liberation. So, in Yudhishthira Maharaj was thinking that without his protection, how they can live. So, Narada Muni said to Yudhishthira Maharaj, all the jivas, everyone is under the control of guna, karma, kala. So under the situation, none of us can protect others. It's a foolishness on our part to think that I am maintaining my family members, I am protecting my family members. How can we protect when we ourselves are under the clutches of death? Where is the question of we protect others? When somebody thinks like that, it's a fool number one. It's a fool number one. Then Narada Muni said that your uncle Dhrtarashtra will quit his body. And by seeing her husband, even Gandhari will also enter the fire of her husband and attain the same destination. It's called Sativrata. When Gandhari saw how her husband given up his body by developing fire within the body and igniting himself, so she cannot tolerate without her husband. Therefore, a chaste wife, she cannot live without her husband. That is more painful than the death. Therefore, she also entered along with her husband. Of course, this kind of things is not applicable at the current age because no one is like a Gandhari. So, no one can be forced to enter Sativrata. It's a criminal offense. So, when Vidura, when he sees that his brother, how he gave up his body and attained liberation, he was affected with delight and grief, and he leaves the place. Why Vidura was affected with the delight and grief? Because Vidura knew his brother was attached to materialistic life. Throughout his life was constantly absorbed in the materialistic life. Somehow he received his instructions and left home, went to forest and practiced Ashtanga Yoga and attained liberation. Because he attained liberation, he was happy, he was delighted that somehow my brother attained liberation at last. At the same time, he was filled with grief. Why? Because he could not make his brother to be a pure devotee of Lord Krishna. Why? Because Dhrtarashtra was constantly offending Pandavas. An offense at the lotus feet of Lord Krishna can be forgiven. Lord will forgive. But offense at the lotus feet of pure devotees cannot be forgiven because he committed offense at the Pandavas. He could not become pure devotee. Although he got liberation, but he could not become pure devotees. So therefore Vidura was feeling that pain that I could not turn my brother to become pure devotee. Then by seeing his brother giving up the body, he was afflicted and he also leave the place and go to some other place. So Narada Muni said to Yudhishthira, my dear Yudhishthira, please do not worry. There is no need to go to forest to perform a ritual for your uncle because he burnt his body by himself. There is no need to go to a forest to take care of even your uncle Vidura also. So after hearing from Narada Muni, somehow he kept the knowledge of Narada Muni within his heart and gave up all the lamentation. This is the summary of this 13th chapter. So we'll see the next chapter what's going to happen. Thank you. Hare Krishna.